You know that feeling. The lights dim, the music swells, and that iconic little ping slides into the corner of your screen. That chime, that beautiful, sweet, rewarding chime, it tells you that you've done it. You've earned the trophy. But what about when you've earned all of them? When the ultimate goal, the summit of your digital journey, is finally within reach. And with that one final pop, a shining, glorious orb appears. The Platinum Trophy. Welcome to the Plat Deck, where we live and breathe the pursuit of the ultimate reward, the Platinum. Today we're not just hunting a Platinum, we're hunting the origin story of the Platinum itself. And this is a story of corporate rivalry, a failed virtual world, a legendary one-week only design, and a community of players who had to reverse engineer a system just to understand it. This is the definitive history of the PlayStation Trophy system, from its humble beginnings to the dawn of a new generation. So let's go. Chapter 1. The Race to GAMIFY. To understand why PlayStation trophies exist, we have to look at their main rival. Now, back in November 2005, a little company called Microsoft, don't know if you've heard of it, launched the Xbox 360. And with it, they launched a game-changing new feature, Achievements. They were a cross-game reward system tied to a single all-encompassing gamer score. For the first time, your accomplishments in one game could be seen and compared with your friends across your entire library. Frankly, it was brilliant. The achievements themselves were not, but the idea was absolutely mint. Steam followed suit in 2007, creating its own achievement system. Suddenly, gamers were hooked on the idea of a universal reward system that could measure their dedication. And where were PlayStation? Well, surprisingly behind the curve. While PlayStation had a massive library of incredible games, they had no equivalent system. This created a huge strategic problem for Sony. They risked being seen as the less compelling platform for a new type of player, the completionist. Sony knew they had to respond, and fast. The rumours began swirling in 2007 that Sony were reportedly working on an achievement-style system codenamed Entitlements. The official unveiling came at the 2007 Game Developers Conference from Sony's then president of Sony Computer Entertainment America, Phil Harrison. But here's the most surprising part. The trophies weren't meant for the main menu at all. They were a key feature of a grander and ultimately ill-fated vision. The plan was to integrate these trophies into PlayStation Home, a massive virtual 3D social hub for the PS3, and you were supposed to be able to show off your trophies as three-dimensional models in a virtual Hall of Fame. Can you imagine that? A trophy system you had to boot up a separate app just to see. I mean, it would be pretty cool, I guess, in VR, walking through a labyrinth of your trophies earned if they were in big 3D glorious sculptures, I guess. But the idea of loading up an entirely different app just to check on your completion percentage, to me, is a little excessive. Luckily for us, the grand vision never materialized, and Sony made a huge pivot. Chapter 2. The birth of the Platinum. In a move that signalled they were listening, or maybe just urgently course-correcting, Sony integrated the new trophy system directly into the core PS3 menu, the cross-media bar via firmware update 2.40 on July 2nd, 2008. This was the day that everything changed, and trophy hunting was born. The very first game to ever get trophies wasn't even a brand new game, it was retroactively patched into Super Stardust HD, the very first brand new release game to launch with native trophy support was Pixel Junk Eden. Yeah, I've never heard of it either, which hit the PlayStation Store a few weeks later on July 31st, 2008. But the Platinum Trophy we all know and love almost looked completely different. When the system launched, the original Platinum Trophy design featured a crown-like motif with the PlayStation-shaped symbols on the front. It wasn't great, and it had an incredibly short life because just 6 days later, on July the 8th, a new firmware update, 2.41, replaced it with the now iconic floating orb design, which is still my favourite Platinum. It took just 1 week for them to realise the massive mistake they'd made and rectify. What a rectification that is. It's so beautiful. It's wild to think that our beloved Platinum could have being a crown though, right? The quick change suggests that Sony realised the visual identity of the reward itself, the Platinum, was just as important as earning it. Basically, they suddenly understood branding. Chapter 3, the secret point system and a community of detectives. Now for the real deep cut, from the very beginning the trophy system was built on a hidden point economy. Sony never officially told us the exact point values for each trophy. This was supposedly a secret, a mystery that was eventually solved by a community of dedicated players. The secret was finally revealed not by a developer blog or press release, but in the pages of a Little Big Planet strategy guide. In the moment of sheer brilliance, the guide listed the points value for its trophies, and with that single piece of information, the community reverse engineered the entire system themselves. They discovered the hidden points value: 15 points for bronze, 30 silver, 90 gold, and 180 for the platinum. These trophy points, as the community dubbed them, are what determined your overall trophy level and your progress bar for a game. This is the most beautiful thing about the PlayStation trophy system. The developers built a great framework, but the community itself built the culture around it from minute one, creating unofficial leaderboards, tracking points, and turning the system into a sport long before Sony made any of these features official. Trophies are where they are, not because of Sony, but because of you, trophy hunters, you wonderful buggers. Chapter 4, a developer's world. Creating a trophy list isn't just an afterthought for developers, it's a significant part of the game's design. Starting on January 1st, 2009, Sony made it mandatory for all new PS3 games to have a trophy list. And this ensured the system's widespread adoption and relevance. So how do developers actually make them? Well, a developer's life is actually surprisingly simple in this regard. As one game dev put it, they just need to check for a specific condition, like a player killing a boss or finding a secret, and then call a function to unlock the trophy. The real challenge is designing the list itself, and developers often think in three categories. 1. The tutorial trophies. These guide you through the core mechanics of the game. 2. Milestone trophies. These are for tasks that you will likely complete just by playing the game, like killing 1,000 enemies or collecting a certain amount of money. 3. Creative trophies. These are the tricky ones. They challenge you to master a certain aspect of the game in a new or unconventional way, like completing a level without killing anyone. This shows how trophies evolved from a simple competitive feature to a genuine tool for enhancing replayability and challenging players in new ways. Chapter 5, the end of an era and a new beginning. By the time we were ready to move on from the PS3, the trophy system had become a core pillar of the PlayStation experience. In December 2011, the PlayStation Vita was released, becoming the first portable PlayStation console with trophies. And the Vita was perfect. It is a glorious handheld, and honestly, just give us a Vita 2 already, Sony, for Christ's sake. The Vita allowed you to view your trophies from both the PS3 and the handheld on a single list, and some games even had a shared trophy list across both platforms. It was a seamless integration, and it paved the way for the future. The PS3 trophy era was defined by a rapid evolution. It was an era where the system went from an afterthought, a competitive response, to a fundamental part of the console's identity. But the journey was far from over, and as we close the book on this incredible era, a new one was just around the corner. An era that would introduce official rarity ratings, change the way we screenshot our platinum moments, and ultimately evolve the entire system for its new generation. Join us as we return in our next video of this series, where we explore the changes, new features, and the incredible evolution of the trophy system that came during the PlayStation 4 generation. Be good to yourselves and each other.